21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Struggling to find reliable top-tier tech talent without breaking the bank? What if you could access some of the world's best developers while making a positive impact? In this episode, we dive into how Hire Odesa is reshaping tech recruitment by connecting US businesses with exceptional vetted talent from Ukraine, delivering results, trust, and a greater purpose. My name is Val Narodetsky, and I'm the founder and CEO of Hire Odesa. We're a remote tech teams concierge company dedicated to solving the biggest hiring challenges for companies looking to scale fast. Our mission is to connect small businesses, brands, startups, and agencies with top-tier developers, engineers, and IT experts at a fraction of the cost of traditional hiring methods. My journey into entrepreneurship really started out of necessity. In my late 20s, my daughter had just been born, and I was really trying to figure out how to support my family. I didn't have a business plan, just the drive to make something work. That's when my father told me about a friend who was making big money in e-commerce, and it sparked an idea. And 6 months later, with $7,000, I was able to launch my very first e-commerce company. It wasn't easy. Every dollar mattered, and every decision felt like you could make or break the business, quite literally. I faced challenge after challenge, from managing cash flow to figuring out how to reach customers without a budget and dealing with supply chain issues, which were constant back then. Everything is a challenge when you can't afford to hire professionals. You have to figure it out yourself. I became obsessed with learning digital marketing, product positioning, and web development. I even spent hours studying online outreach and consumer psychology. Those skills really became game changers for me, helping my business get noticed and grow without breaking the bank. I found that setting small, achievable goals kept me sane. Instead of getting overwhelmed by the big picture, I focused on small daily wins. Also, surrounding myself with supportive people really helped, and I learned to delegate, which wasn't really easy at first, but it was critical in reducing the stress. The key turning point was when I landed a partnership with a large Amazon distributor who really believed in my brand. That partnership opened many, many doors, and I was really able to scale at that time. I also realized how important relationships and networking were, even though it wasn't my strength at that time. Being open to learn from someone and creating those connections was huge for me. At one point, I realized I had outgrown the original version I had for the business, and rather than sticking to that plan, I shifted my focus to a more scalable omnichannel model. And that shift helped me position the company for growth, which made it more attractive to buyers when the time came. And that time came in 2020 at the height of COVID pandemic, when the world was practically at lockdown. A private equity firm approached me, impressed by the company and reputation that I had built. And after 6 months of negotiations, we reached an agreement, and I sold the business for 7 figures, just one day after its fifth anniversary. Since then, I was fortunate enough to launch several successful ventures in digital marketing, software, and services space, and I even had another successful exit. Now, if I could change one thing, I would say that I would have definitely hired a mentor sooner. Early on, I thought I had to do it all myself, but having a mentor or a coach would have saved me a lot of time and frustration. There's just so much value in learning from someone who's been there before, and I really believe I didn't tap into that early enough. Hire Odesa came from a very personal place for me. It was my first purpose-driven project as opposed to profit-driven like all the others. And being born in Odessa, Ukraine, and having moved to the United States when I was a young kid, I've always felt a deep connection to both places. Over the years, I saw the crazy talent that exists in Ukraine, especially in the tech space, and how underutilized it was on a global stage. After building and exiting several companies, I knew I wanted my next venture to be something that created real impact. So the idea behind Hire Odesa wasn't really about just starting another business. It was more about building a bridge between talented professionals and businesses in the US that desperately need that talent. I wanted to give Ukrainian tech experts the visibility they deserve while helping companies in US solve real hiring challenges, just like the ones I had experienced in my early days. Now, in my previous ventures, I often found myself struggling to hire the right talent at the right price. I experienced firsthand the real true frustration of dealing with inflated costs and not finding the right people who fit the specific needs of the business. I also learned that great talent doesn't always come from where you expect it. Some of the best people I've ever worked with were from Ukraine due to their work ethic, attention to detail, and because they really truly care about the results that they bring into the company. That's when I realized that remote teams, especially in countries like Ukraine, had the potential to be a game changer for other businesses. Also, I realized that helping companies tap into top tier tech talent from Ukraine was not just a smart move, but also a way for me to give back to my home country. I really felt like there was a perfect opportunity to combine my Ukrainian cultural roots and my experience in scaling companies to create something truly special. Now, for me, Hire Odesa is about more than just connecting companies and talent. It's about creating opportunities for people. I come from very humble beginnings, and I know what it feels like to want something, but not have the resources or the platform to achieve it. So I bring that empathy into how I lead. I care deeply about the people I work with, both our clients and our candidates. I want our team to feel like they're part of something bigger, and I want our clients to feel like they're getting more than just a service. They're building a relationship with us. Integrity, trust, and a sense of purpose are core to how I lead Hire Odessa. In my first company, I had to pivot a few times before finding the right formula for success, and that lesson really stayed with me. At Hire Odessa, we're constantly adapting to what our clients need and refining our process to make sure that we're actually providing actual value. Another lesson from my past ventures was the importance of relationships. Whether it's with your team, your clients, or your partners, those relationships are what sustain your business in the long run. So I've taken those lessons and made them part of our DNA at Hire Odessa. Every day, I'm really motivated by the idea that we're helping to bridge that gap between incredible talent and the businesses that really need it. So it's not just about filling roles, it's about helping companies grow and thrive by connecting them with people who can actually make a difference. And really that's what keeps me going, knowing that we're not only transforming businesses but also lives of others. There are several trends in remote work right now that I'm really excited about, especially when it comes to global tech recruitment. First, the rise of specialized remote teams is something that we're seeing across many different industries. And companies are no longer just looking for remote generalists. They want specialized talent with deep expertise and understanding in areas like AI, machine learning, IT, or cybersecurity. Now, second, the remote work is becoming more integrated into company culture rather than being seen as a temporary or secondary option. Businesses are now building entire frameworks to support remote collaborations, which is creating more stability and trust in the remote teams. And finally, deep work without preset schedules is gaining momentum, where team members can work on their own schedules across different time zones while sticking to predetermined and pre agreed KPIs and deadlines. This trend allows companies to tap into talent worldwide without being tied to a strict 9 to 5 model, which is a huge advantage for productivity as well as flexibility. And I think that we're going to see a continued shift towards companies hiring globally by default rather than seeing it as a backup plan. In the next 5 years, I expect the competition for top tier talent to intensify on a global scale. Companies will be less concerned about where their team members are located and more focused on finding the right skills regardless of geography. This will create a much more dynamic and fluid workforce where people from all corners of the world are contributing to major projects. And at the same time, we're going to see a rise in demand for niche expertise, specific technologies, certain platforms, and frameworks that are not typically easily available locally. Businesses that adapt early will certainly benefit from this trend, and those that do not, well, they'll struggle to keep up, unfortunately. And one of the biggest misconceptions that shifted is the idea that remote work causes less productivity. For a long time, there was a lot of skepticism around whether remote teams could perform as well as in office teams. But over the past few years, especially with the pandemic accelerating that trend, we've seen that remote teams can be just as productive when given the right tools and support. Another misconception that's slowly changing is the belief that remote work is only for certain roles like customer service or marketing. But now, even highly technical roles like software development, IT infrastructure, and machine learning are thriving in remote settings. Now, at Hire Odesa, we're fully embracing the demand for specialized talent. We've placed experts in Snowflake, data engineering, Salesforce development, and Shopify Plus projects. Roles that require really specific knowledge that are not easily filled by freelancers or typical platforms. Because we're focusing on niche tech positions, we're able to connect businesses with candidates who have the exact skills they need, even when those skills are rare in the market. We've also built our process around work without preset schedules, so our clients don't have to worry about time zone differences. Our candidates work on their own time, which means our clients get the talent they need without compromising on schedules or productivity. So I think many businesses are still overlooking the potential for training and development for remote teams. While they're comfortable with hiring remote talent, they often don't think about how they can properly train those teams. So providing learning and training that aligns with company goals is crucial, especially in tech where things move extremely fast. And another overlooked trend is the power of cross-border collaborations. Hiring remote talent is one thing, but creating systems where teams from different countries and cultures work seamlessly together is a whole different challenge. So businesses that invest in developing those tools and systems will see a major competitive advantage in the next several years. One of the biggest challenges US businesses face with remote tech teams is communication and alignment. When you're working with people in different time zones and potentially different cultures, ensuring everyone's on the same page can be extremely difficult. I've personally faced this challenge myself in my early days of managing remote teams. In one of our previous ventures, we had a situation where our remote development team was working on a feature that, due to poor communication, ended up being completely different from what we needed. And it actually ended up setting our project back several weeks. So it was a hard lesson in the importance of clear communication and mutual understanding. Another major issue businesses are facing is finding top tier specialized talent quickly, because businesses often waste so much time sifting through unqualified candidates or waiting for the right person to show up, especially for the niche tech roles. So at Hire Odesa, we solve that by vetting our candidates thoroughly and only presenting the top 1% of talent. We handle the screening and the interview process ourselves, so by the time our clients see candidates, they are seeing top contenders for that position. Our model allows companies to fill key roles in as little as 14 days, which is a huge advantage compared to traditional hiring. And cultural difference can absolutely become a barrier if it's not managed properly. So one thing we do at Hire Odessa is ensure that all of our candidates have intermediate level English proficiency. So there is absolutely no language barrier when it comes to day-to-day communications. We also provide cultural training and onboarding support to help our clients and their new team members understand each other's work styles. It's honestly about creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable asking questions and sharing feedback. So regular check-ins and open communication channels help bridge those gaps and keep productivity very high. Building trust remotely can be very challenging, but it's all about transparency and clear expectations. At Hire Odessa, we're very, very intentional about setting expectations right from the start. Every project has defined goals, timelines, and check-ins, so both the client and the remote team know exactly what success looks like. We also offer a 90-day replacement guarantee, which gives our clients a peace of mind. If a candidate doesn't perform to expectations, we'll replace them at no additional cost. That level of accountability helps build trust with our clients, and it also ensures that our candidates stay motivated and deliver their best work possible. One story that comes to mind is a US business e commerce company that needed Shopify Plus developers to overhaul their entire online store. They had tried hiring locally but couldn't find anyone with the right expertise, and their timeline was getting tighter day by day. So they came to us, and within 2 weeks, we connected them with a team of developers from Ukraine who had extensive experience with Shopify Plus. The team not only met their deadline, but also provided additional insights that help improve the overall user experience on the website, boosting conversion rates. So the client was happy, and what started as a one-time project is now evolved into ongoing partnership. Ukraine and Eastern Europe in general have really become tech powerhouses in the last several years, even during an ongoing military conflict in Ukraine, and there are several reasons for that. One of the key factors is the strong education system in these regions. Universities in Ukraine and across Eastern Europe emphasize and prioritize rigorous technical training, which produces highly skilled engineers and developers. But honestly, it's not about just formal education, it's about self-learning culture that exists there. A lot of developers are constantly improving their skill sets and staying on top of the latest technologies and experimenting with new tools on their own time. And this hunger for knowledge makes the talent pool in Eastern Europe incredibly valuable to businesses worldwide. So, one thing that really stands out about Eastern European tech teams is their problem solving mindsets. Developers from that region tend to approach challenges by simply digging deeper into the problems to actually find long term solutions rather than short term quick fixes. And there is also a high level of accountability and work ethic there. And in my experience, Eastern European developers are incredibly reliable. They take ownership of their work and are committed to delivering quality results. And that kind of dedication, combined with their top tier technical skills, often sets them apart from talent in other parts of the world. And one major advantage is the cost to quality ratio. Businesses get access to highly skilled developers at a fraction of what it might cost to hire similar talent in the US. And I've seen firsthand how US companies that work with tech teams from Ukraine can scale their operations faster and stay competitive, especially in the industries where margins are crazy tight. So another competitive advantage is cultural alignment. Developers in Ukraine, for example, tend to be very adaptable and can integrate seamlessly into US-based work environments. They're used to working with international clients, so there is often a lot less learning curve when it comes to communications and expectations. We just completed a project for a large SaaS company in the US, and their platform processes over around 1 million jobs per day, and their failure rate was extremely high. They needed to hire two engineers with a very specific tech stack to optimize their data infrastructure and reduce those failure rates. And after struggling to find the right talent in the US, they came to us. And within several weeks, we connected them with several highly skilled engineers from Ukraine who not only improved their data process, but also reduced the rate of failures by approximately 30%, making their platform a lot more efficient and user-friendly. So we're very selective about the candidates that we bring on board. We take a very hands-on approach to ensure that the businesses get the right talent for their specific needs. And it all starts with understanding the client's requirements in high detail. We get a clear sense of the project scope, technical needs, and company culture. And from there, we conduct our own vetting process, only presenting candidates who fit the criteria and have been thoroughly interviewed by our own team. So we focus on matching both the skill set and personality to ensure seamless integration into the client's workflow. We also offer flexible work arrangements to accommodate different business needs. So whether a company is looking for a one-time hire, wants ongoing support with our staff augmentation, or wants to add a new source of revenue via our white labeling, we provide them with custom tailored solutions. We simply don't believe in cookie cutter approach at Hire Odesa. And this flexibility ensures that companies can scale their teams in a way that fits their goals without locking them into long-term contracts. And with our 90-day replacement guarantee, we stand by the quality of every candidate that we place. For me, leadership in remote environment is about trust, communication, and setting clear expectations. One of the most important practices I've developed over the years is to empower my teams with a high level of autonomy. I believe in hiring great talent and giving them the space they need to excel. This allows my teams to work creatively and independently, but it's balanced by a strong framework of accountability. I make sure that from day one, everyone understands the goals, the deadlines, and the metrics for success. And by setting clear expectations up front, I create an environment where my team members know what they're working towards, and they have a freedom to figure out the best way to get there. Staying connected is critical in remote tech teams, and I've learned that over-communicating is better than under-communicating. I use a mix of meetings and informal check-ins to keep the pulse of the team. We have regular team meetings to go over project milestones and challenges, but I also like to have one-on-one check-ins to understand how individual team members are feeling. I use tools like Slack and Notion for ongoing communication, but what's really important is creating that open door culture. I want my team to feel like they can reach out to me whenever they need support or feedback. And being proactive in communication helps prevent misunderstandings and ensure that everyone feels connected, even across different time zones. One of the biggest challenges as CEO I face is ensuring that remote teams stay aligned and motivated over time. When you're not in the same physical space, it can be easy for team members to feel isolated or lose sight of the bigger picture. So to address this, I try to keep the team connected to the company's mission and the impact of their work. I'm always reinforcing the why behind what we're doing so people feel that their contributions are meaningful. I also like to celebrate wins, both big and small. Whether completing a milestone or overcoming a tough challenge, we celebrate them all. These moments of recognition keep the energy up and remind everyone that they're part of something bigger. Autonomy and accountability go hand in hand. I give my teams the freedom to manage their own work, but that comes a clear system of accountability. I set up progress reviews where we review how things are tracking against the goals we set, and it's not about micromanaging, but I'm making sure that they're a structure of accountability. I found that most people thrive when they're given ownership of their work, and having these check-ins, I can support them without reducing their independence. It's about giving them the space to innovate while keeping everyone aligned with the company's mission. I rely on the principle of empowerment. I believe that when people feel empowered, they're more likely to take initiative, think creatively, and solve problems in innovative ways. Another key principle is continuous learning. The tech space changes rapidly, and I encourage my teams to stay ahead by investing time in improving skill sets and exploring new tools and technologies. I also try to curate a culture of open feedback, where ideas and challenges can be shared openly without fear of judgment. And by creating a space where team members feel valued and heard, I find that innovation happens naturally. And finally, I emphasize results over process. If we're hitting our goals and driving value for the company, I'm less concerned about how we get there. This flexibility allows for more creative problem solving and high performance. If you're considering scaling your business with a specialized remote tech teams but have not been able to find the right partner, please visit our website www.hireodesa.com, or you can reach out to me personally at val@hireodesa.com. Let's have a conversation about your goals and how our talented team at Hire Odesa can help your company grow more efficiently.
"21st Century Entrepreneurship" with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.